Hello, family and friends. My name is Demetrian. I'm from Buffalo, New York.
And I'm Sierra from Charleston, South Carolina.
And we're the Knights. So we met in college. We've been together for 10 years.
We've been married for 4 years. And here's our story. We're excited. I tried to surprise him. That didn't work. I put the pregnancy test in a pizza box when he came home for lunch. And totally disappointed me when he seen the results because he said, I already knew that. How you knew?
I don't know. As a man, sometimes you get that vibe. Like,
that intuition.
Yeah, I was like,
Okay.
I feel like I'm about to come home and this news is just some news waiting for me or something.
Okay.
And it was.
So yeah, we took it well. We were actually super anxious. A lot of people don't know prior to this, we had a miscarriage. So we were definitely wanting to try again.
But we're kind of down about that moment because, you know, being first-time parents and losing the first child, we were just like, did we want to try again or did we want to wait a little bit? So, you know, we had that conversation and we decided that we ended up wanting to wait at least a year before trying again because it kind of messed with the wife a little bit, which I can fully understand. Of course, I'm a man, but I could understand, you know, that first feeling of being pregnant for a woman and it being snatched away. So yeah, we kind of had that conversation and we decided that, you know, we'll wait a year, and we waited a full year actually, and
right.
it happened.
a year to date. It was the exact full year.
Yeah.
So originally I wanted to do a natural birth. I was all for natural birth, no medication. And after researching, Mish was like, I think it may be best if we go to the hospital. You don't know the risk of pregnancy, you didn't know what to expect. So as first time parents, we just decided to go into the hospital, do it there, do it natural. And when I say natural, I meant water birth. That was my first thing. I wanted to do water birth. If I could do it home, I was gonna do it home. But I think we made the right decision to go to the hospital. The day my water broke, I was actually upstairs. I had just got through bouncing on the ball, as the doctor had said. And bouncing, went upstairs to use the bathroom. And I was fine and went to wash my hands and boom, water broke. My water broke and I called Misha upstairs and said, "Bae," I could just see me all dramatic. My water broke, and his expression was just priceless because he was like, "Okay, the bag's in the car, let's go."
Listen, I was ready.
Like so calm.
My whole thing was trying to make the process as easy as could be for her. So I had everything packed, you know, ready to go. So when she called me and I went upstairs and I saw that the water broke, I was like, okay. And another thing for me too, I didn't want to panic because I felt like that energy would rub off on her. So
I I screamed. We should have screamed, but he was so calm.
But I was ready, and we got to the hospital when we needed to. So as soon as she did that, she called me. I went upstairs. Everything was already in the car. I had that set to go. I had the towel down on the passenger seat, walked her to the car, and then we headed right to the hospital.
After pushing and pushing and pushing for 2.5 hours, I finally had to get an emergency C-section. And at, like, 3:04, Dreson came. July 16th, 2019.
That feeling, I can't really put into words, that feeling of seeing my son, you know, come out of my wife's stomach, and it was overwhelming. So, you know, that's when Dreson came into this world, and we love him to death, and we'd do anything for him.
So we got home, and 2 became 3. It was definitely a life-changing experience. Super easy for the most part. Dreson was really calm. I do believe he had colic because some days he would not go to sleep and he just kind of cried. Again, thank God for my mother-in-law and my mom. That first week or 2, they were here non-stop, and they helped a lot. And life was pretty much, it was easy.
Yeah.
Meech went back to work after what, 2 weeks?
Well, they gave me 6 weeks total, which was a blessing because most jobs, especially for men, we don't get any time off, for the most case paid at that. So I had about 6 weeks off paid to be able to, you know, help the wife and be there to give her a little break once we got out because, you know, she was exhausted, of course. But yeah, I had about 6 weeks off to kind of help out. And Dreson was good. I mean, he slept through the night for the most part. Not much crying or anything like that.
He looked like me at first.
But no, we took over, so that's my twin.
He got dad genes.
I'm thankful for that.
He looked just like his dad now.
Yeah, so.
You definitely got my attitude though.
Yeah, I guess if I could kind of tweak some things, I would be fine with him looking like her. But having my attitude laid back, calm, but he's he's got mommy, so it's all good though. We make it work.
I want to say about 3 or 4 months, Dreson just wasn't doing the normal things. Me and Meech both had kind of noticed that he didn't have that focus like other kids have. Like, he didn't give you the eye contact like he should. His body was always kind of a little floppy to me. He didn't like tummy time, which his pediatrician originally said due to his acid reflux, he just was a baby that wasn't gonna like tummy time. So no tummy time means no strength in his neck, no head coordination. So it was just the little things that I kind of had an intuition about. Of course, you don't speak negativity over your kid and say, oh, he can't do this or he won't do this. So I just kind of took it for what it was and said, oh, it'll come at a later time.
And I think that was more so my take on it too, that it would come over time. But then, you know, you have to think about the mothers, and sometimes they get that intuition that something just doesn't seem right. So us as the men, we got to step back and be like, okay, well, maybe we need to examine this a little more and see what really could be going on. Because mothers just have that feeling. So that's what we did.
Maybe a week or 2 before Halloween, I just remember being so excited about Dreson getting in his little costume because that was his first real holiday. And I want to say the 27th of October, yes, because that's my brother's birthday, he had his first seizure. His grandma was here, me and Meech were both here, and he just kind of had like the normal seizure activities, like he did the shaking and he did his head, and we knew it was a seizure. Even though we aren't doctors, we kind of knew what it was. It looked like a seizure, and it was a seizure. But his doctor kept saying to wait to get it on video, to record it, to see where we can go from there.
And I think that was the hardest part about it, because yeah, being first-time parents and then that first time seeing your child have a seizure like that. Like,
super
the
scary.
first thing that you want to do is go to the aid of him and see what's going on, try to calm him down, or it's a bunch of different things that go to your mind, but the last thing at that moment is really going to your phone to record it. So that's something that we struggled with at first, because anytime a seizure would come, we just wanted to jump in, try to figure out how to get it to stop or calm him down or whatever the case may be. So.
I don't think we caught, the first 2 or 3 seizures we didn't catch on tape, which means it prolonged getting the actual diagnosis of his seizures. I think we got maybe the 3rd one on camera.
Yeah.
And I remember sending it that night to his pediatrician, and the next morning she called. Meech was at work and I was still at home because I didn't go back from maternity leave just yet. So yeah, sent it, and she said bring him in ASAP. So me and grandma got him all packed up and took him down to the hospital. And that's when he got his first MRI and CAT scans, and that was scary. And that was another scary part of it was, you know, seeing your small child, because at that point he was like 3-4 months, something like that. So, you know, just seeing so many different wires connected to him, connected to his head, on his chest, it's just like, man, what's going on? Like, we don't know what to expect at that point. So we just left it in the doctor's hands. And all we could do was just, you know, pray and just stay there by his side and just see what the results would come from it. So. So originally when we left the hospital after that first day with his seizures, they just diagnosed him and said he had epilepsy. That's all it was. He got medicine that he took on a daily basis, and we went back to the hospital maybe 2 or 3 weeks after for testing, and Meech and myself decided this is really weird because neither one of us had seizures in our family history, so we wanted to get a genetics test. We got the genetics tests done, and weeks went by.
Months
Months went
yeah.
by.
Because we didn't end up finding out anything until, what was it, January?
January.
So.
January 15th, we got the diagnosis, and the nurse diagnosed him with something called GRIN1. When she called, she was super, I guess, unresourceful because she didn't know anything about it. It affects his ability to, at this time, it affects his ability to walk and talk. So the average 1-year-old by now probably would have crawled and said mama and dada. Dreson, he can't sit up by himself just yet. He's not rolling like he should. He does have his days where he rolls over, and it's a big shock to us.
And we have him in therapy too as well.
Yeah.
Twice a week, which is a good thing too, because when we first heard of GRIN1, it seemed like a lot of families didn't know about it until their child was up in age, 5, 10, we've even seen 27. So we've caught it early. So we've been having him seen twice a week to get therapy on those things. I think where it got to me the most was just knowing that those certain moments as a father that you look to or that you dream about, that you would be able to have with your son, those experiences of teaching them how to play sports, how to ride a bike, play in the yard, different things like that, to kind of know that those things may not happen, has been a little tough. We've kind of held the whole thing in for the most part outside of speaking to immediate family since January, and what is July now. But we just wanted to make sure that we learned enough about it, and that we became comfortable enough to speak about it without getting choked up and stuff like that. So, you know, we finally got to the point where we've learned a good bit of information about it, and just come to terms that, you know, it's something that we're going to have to deal with, and that we don't know what the expectations are of it, what can come from it. Just that all we can do as his parents is just love him and just do what we can to work now on hopefully teaching him those things, and maybe he can overcome, you know, the negatives of GRIN.
Support group that we have, and the family and friends that we've told, and how they've just embraced it, that makes it easier. That makes the day-to-day living a little more doable, because we know that we have a phenomenal support system who has just kind of been there for the most part since they found out. It hasn't been easy for grandparents. My mom has taken it hard. His mom has taken it hard, because again, it's just something he didn't expect. But for the most part, we're doing fairly well.
Yeah, we've become more accepting, gotten much better with it. It's just not getting to the point where we start to question God as far as, you know, what's going on with our son. So if it's one thing that we could always say, or we will always say to any parents, first-time parents, where, you know, something may happen to their child, is always have faith, believe in God that it's a plan, and just pray about it. That's all we can do, because that's one thing that we always had a conversation about, and that we didn't want to really have take over us, is the fact of at some point questioning God on why this happened to our child. So, you know, we're just trusting the process. I just want the world to see, our friends and family to see, that we love him no matter what, and that even though he may have this disability, that he can have just as a normal life as any other child.
Definitely.
Say, you know, thank you to everybody. It took a while for us to decide to do a legit video based around it, but we were getting a lot of questions and stuff like that, and sometimes we just didn't know how to answer without getting too choked up and stuff like that. So we just wanted to be on a wider platform where everybody can kind of hear it all at once. So, you know, we thank you for everybody tuning in, watching, sharing. We just want to spread awareness that is so many different things out here that we don't know about, that are very rare, that sometimes don't come from the parents, right? So, you know, we just want to bring awareness to that fact, and that we're not going to treat him no different. He's going to travel with us. He's going to have a good life. And yeah, we appreciate all of y'all for tuning in.
Definitely. Bye. Say bye.